Hello, Dave and I are making a video. It is a beautiful day today outside. As one can see, the sun shines and it is bright, shining through those microfiber curtains. And it is wonderful and makes good light. And it's a good day to paint, to continue my artwork. It's very good. And I also made a t-shirt the other day. It's still drying. I'm going to show that later. I might show it tomorrow when we are going to the other place, stopping at the beach and stuff. I'm gonna wear my yellow t-shirt with my own artwork on it, with the blue god in dog form, which I painted on it with t-shirt paint, which I bought. But the cheapest t-shirt paint I could find on Amazon, something like $6.50 or something for a 6-pack of different colors. And you squeeze it out and it stays kind of rounded, like tubular. But it's kind of cute. I like it. But because it's cheap, it takes like a week to dry, but that's okay. I don't care about that. I have time on my hand. I have a lot of time. Nicola got time. Okay, that is my motto in my life. And Dave has time too, has a lot of time. Always had time in his former life too. It was a lot of time to fill out with some activities. And he did that very well with beautiful writing and beautiful thinking and beautiful message for the world. And the message for the world is always the same today as it was in the former life. And the message is, I love all living beings equally much, and I want to introduce true love to the world. And right now I cannot talk. I can only do some howling and barking, but I leave the talking to Nicola. She likes to talk until she's blue in the face. Sometimes it looks a bit bluish also. But yeah, so it wasn't always easy for me to talk, particularly in public, particularly in making videos like this. I would still not be able to do a live interview or something. That I don't think I could. I would kind of become mute suddenly if I was interviewed publicly by Charlie Rose or something, something that I don't have control over the editing. So, and and that's why I would never, never be interviewed by someone like this or by anyone that is in charge of the editing. And although I would love to talk to Charlie Rose in private sometime because I have a lot of questions for him. So I'll be the person with the questions, not the other way around. But yeah, same goes to Alex Jones. I would like to meet Alex Jones. I met him yesterday. If that was him, you never know. But I saw him, his angry face, and the name Alex Jones. So could be someone else who's impostering. But from what he was saying, it sounded like it could have been him. So anyway, I said in that chat room, I said, come on over to my channel and let's talk. So if you get to see this video, let's talk. I am the person with the questions here, but I will be happy to answer some questions also in response in reciprocity. So quid pro quo, as what's his name is Hannibal Lecter said. Anyway, I have a lot of questions to a lot of people, whether they're famous or not famous. I don't care. What matters to me is that someone is willing to put some activism work into their life and to stand up for the things that need attention desperately, like active sonar right now, which I mentioned yesterday in the chat room. And it seemed like nobody knew what that actually was. So this is my pet theme, my pet subject, my main subject for my activism. This is how I became an activist originally in 2002, because we started to, Paul's cousin Kenny in LA got involved with the Sierra Club and the protection of the Redwood Forest through Julia Hill, and he routed us to them, and we got involved because we care. I started to petition for the Redwood Forest in LA, which is not exactly the closest theme to the Redwood Forest, and the people treated me horrifically and ridiculed me. And I remember those teenage girls snickering as soon as I mentioned protecting the Redwood Forest. They were like, "What?" That's like the farthest thing on their minds. And but we did it. We didn't get it on the ballot, which we were hoping for, but we tried anyway, and Julia Hill sent every one of the petitioners her autograph with her photo. She's also a photo model, beautiful woman. And so that was the beginning. And then I got a petition letter from PETA and from Greenpeace. Back then, Greenpeace was still legitimate. Today, they are not anymore. They have turned sour, literally. They got mold growing on them now. So it's time for Greenpeace to go into the recycling bin. But that's another story. I talked about this before in one of my videos. They have become corrupted because the wrong people got in. Infiltrators have like completely warmed that whole thing out. It's like completely wormholes throughout this entire organization. They have turned upside down and inside out. They're now on the side of the poachers, believe it or not. That's the truth. But back then in 2002, there were still the majority good people, maybe some infiltrators that started to germinate their bad seeds already, but the majority were good people, and they still had good things on their agenda. They were still standing up for the right things and for the things that needed attention, which was active sonar and many other things. So that's when I first heard about active sonar, through PETA, Greenpeace, and NRDC. I believe it was those groups. And so I was so incredibly shocked. It kind of pulled the rug out from under my feet. It felt like the foundation I was standing on was not secure at all anymore. I felt like, if the Navy, if the militaries in the world, if the governments in the world, if they are that corrupted, that they go against warnings of scientists, against the warnings of marine biologists, and implement a technique that destroys the whales in the most brutal way there is, then what foundation do we really have to stand on? So that's my question. And as what Paul Watson said, if the oceans die, we all die. Okay? This is a fact. Okay? And if they continue this with the active sonar, which is the submarine detecting system that is completely outdated, doesn't even work very well. It works very poorly. What works very well for submarine detecting is the satellite system that works extremely accurately. They detect heat plumes from like hundreds of thousands of miles away. And that's a passive detection system that doesn't hurt anything, that doesn't hurt life, okay? That doesn't hurt anyone, that doesn't hurt a whale, that doesn't hurt sentient beings or other life forms as the active sonar does. So satellite system is safe and it's accurate and they use it also. But the reason why they continue to use active sonar is because it has become a market perpetuation. Market perpetuation is when something that is being produced is making money, maybe in the most corrupt and roundabout ways. It has a manufacturing perpetuation going. It's like it keeps itself going because they have the government as their main contract, as their lifetime customer contract. It's like a customer signing up for the next 1,000 years and saying, yeah, okay, you got me as your continuous customer. So that's what's happening, and the reason why the government pays into it, because the weapon manufacturing companies, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and others, have their feet in the government, totally, 100%. So they make the decisions on what the government spends on. So it's like a fixed deal that completely eludes the taxpayer and the citizens and the residents that live here in the United States, and most of all on cost of the animals. The animals have to pay with their suffering to perpetuate this market perpetuation. And that's why I'm saying to everyone, stand up as much as you can. If every single person would stand up against active sonar, we could bring this to a stop, okay? Write a letter, all of you, write a letter to Donald Trump right now, today. Write a letter to him. It doesn't have to be a long letter. It doesn't have to be sophisticated in any way. It could be a very simple letter. Just write him that you are outraged about the active sonar, what it does to the animals. It causes them to bleed to death internally in the eardrums and lungs because it ruptures the blood vessels. Okay? Tell him that. Tell him that you don't want that to happen. Tell him what Paul Watson said, that if the oceans die, we all die. Okay? It is a domino effect. Okay? It affects all life. You cannot separate one species from the other. Just tell Donald Trump you don't want the sonar anymore. You want him to shut it down. Shut down the market perpetuation of active sonar, and shut down the implementation and shut down the testing of active sonar. Tell him that, okay? I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys. Take care.